Hi, my name's gwEm and welcome back to the gwEmbassy. So today I want to talk to you about a feature of Roland's classic TR-909 that you've probably never heard about. Actually, it's able to sequence external MIDI instruments, so you could program a bass line, some chords, or you could even trigger drum sounds on an external sampler, for example. Now this is extremely cool. It's not very well explained in the manual, and I couldn't find like a video guide anywhere online. Now I know the 909 is kind of a rare, expensive piece of gear, but even if you don't have one, I think it's pretty interesting to see how it works. So stay tuned and let's go to the studio. So first of all, I'm just going to switch it on. Now the first thing you need to do is to set the MIDI output channel. That is done when you're in track play mode, which is what it's in when you first switch it on. So you hold down last step and that will tell you the output channel, and it defaults for some reason to outputting on channel 11. So you can change the MIDI channel with one of the step keys, and I'm going to go with channel 1. I've connected the MIDI out to a Korg NTS1, which is just producing a simple bass sound. First of all, you need to go into pattern right mode. So I'll do shift and then one of the pattern right keys. I'm going to go into bank 2. There we are. Then we select an empty pattern, and I'll just clear it by pressing the clear button and pressing the pattern like that. And then I'm going to program a simple drum rhythm. And that will do nicely. So what I'm going to do now is go into the external instrument, and you do that by pressing shift and then the external instrument key, which is right at the end here in the pattern play mode. Now the only time you can go into this is when you're writing a pattern. You can't go into it in any other mode. So I'm going to clear the pattern again. Now don't worry, because this won't clear the rhythm. All it does is to clear the external instrument track. So when you're in external instrument mode, what it's doing is sending MIDI notes from the MIDI output, which are a fixed length, which is quite short. Normal volume note is sent with a velocity of 64, and then if you use the accent, which you can, and it's a separate accent to the one you used for your rhythm, by the way, and that will increase the velocity to 82. So you have your 16 step keys, and each one from 1 to 16 is corresponding to a particular MIDI note. And to kind of illustrate that, I've put this piece of masking tape over the top here, so you can see where the black and white notes are. One way that you can program this is in tap right mode in real time, and then you can just play your keyboard here, and I'll show you how that works now. You can also do step right, and I'll explain that in a second. So shift into tap right mode. Now when I hit play, I can program in a bass line with these keys. So that's how it works with the tap right. Now this is actually a polyphonic sequencer, so even though the gwEm TS1 I'm using for the bass only plays one note at once, I could actually be programming chords if I wanted to. The other approach is to use step right, so I'll press shift and go into step right. What you're doing is programming with the normal 909 interface, but you do instrument select on each of these 16 keys for each note value. So for example, I've selected there the A, and you can see that the A is present on those particular steps. Now the great thing about this is it doesn't have to be notes that you're triggering. I mean, the TR-909 is sending out MIDI notes, but you could map this key range to a sampler, and then actually this instrument select would be selecting the different instruments in your sampler. It wouldn't necessarily be note select, if you like. Let me modify that pattern using step time, so you can get a feel for how that works. And just to show you, when you press clear on the pattern or the external instrument, it doesn't affect each other. Let me exit from external instrument mode. Now we're just back in the normal drum pattern, and I will clear it. But we will still have the external instrument stuff. Well, I hope that was interesting for you guys. Amazing what these old bits of gear can do, and I think that's a really cool way to kind of sequence everything in the box, include a bass line or perhaps some piano chords or something in a house track. It's really convenient for jamming. I hope to see you soon in another video. Consider subscribing to my channel, I'd really appreciate that. Take care, and I'll see you soon.